true, but it's another instance where new information from the files that have just been released are making everybody look back on these, random things that have been brushed aside, and now people are saying, I think this might have been true. So let me break this down for you, okay? This is a Reddit post going in r/Epstein, and r/Epstein is absolutely booming at the moment, okay? And I'm a Reddit demon, all right? I'm all over it. So I know I said I was going to stop, but I've actually got a bunch of new updates that I'm going to do for you today. Not all Epstein related, but definitely some Epstein related. This anonymous 4chan post from 2020 from a worker for Epstein seems pretty believable these days. 20 screenshots, and we're going to dig into all of them. We're going to dig into all of them, all right? Delete everything, okay? So he said, I'm going to off myself tomorrow. I'm also sending 3 packets of copied information to the media, 1 to CNN, 1 to MSNBC, and 1 to Fox News. You all will have to see which one tells the truth about the information they received and who doesn't. I trust 4chan to do this because of our history of releasing legit info in the face of a mass media cover-up. 4chan looking solid these days. Says, I've been a professional driver and security guard for a circle of very wealthy people for almost 8 years. I started by working the door at a private gentleman's club outside the DC area. From that job, I was introduced to some employment managers for Jeffrey Epstein. Because I had experience as both a cab driver and a bouncer, as well as always overlooking and keeping my mouth shut about the drugs and prostitution my employers at the clubs profited from, they thought I'd be a good fit to work the weekends for Mr. Epstein. At first, I didn't do very much, definitely nothing important. I would run errands mostly and do anything my manager, who reported directly to Mr. Epstein, wanted me to do. So say the gardener calls out sick one day, it would be me mowing the lawn in his place. I was sort of a floating general helper, inevitably Epstein now and then, and he was always very personable, enthusiastic, and I'd heard about his original court case and the rumors and everything. But just meeting this guy made me feel like it was all a lie because he seemed so kind and genuine. I thought he really was just this hotshot money man, like a Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark type figure. And I think ultimately that's how people turn to see him. The God complex was the same lead. Eventually I was trusted with bigger jobs. I think I got a good reputation because I cleaned one of Mr. Epstein's bedroom one day. There was, to my dismay, a mixture of, let's say, dookie and man milk on the bed sheets. I dealt with it professionally, and I didn't say anything. I knew by then that someone was always watching. There are cameras in almost every single room, save Mr. Epstein's private office and regular bedroom. He had several bedrooms, but one was his favorite, I guess, his main room. I never mentioned it to anyone, but I still got to thank you from my manager for being discreet. One day, I was asked to go and pick up a masseuse from a bus station. Excuse me, sorry, I'm tired of the Epstein files. I didn't ask for her age, I knew better, but she could have been older than 60. She couldn't have been older than 60. I got a really bad feeling in my stomach because at this point, denying Mr. Epstein's taste would be borderline irrational. I did my job though. I took her to his house, and a few hours later, I took her back to the bus stop, and she was crying. I didn't talk to her about it. A few weeks later, I did it again. Now my manager tells me that Mr. Epstein would like me to take over all of his various pickups and drop-offs. They call it tea. Bath. But it was more than just girls. I would pick up drugs and other assorted packages, most of which I had no idea the contents, but as far as I was concerned, the less I knew, the better. I was getting paid very well for the amount of work that I was doing. In a given day, I spent 3, maybe 4 hours doing anything that could be considered work. The rest of the time, car browsing 4chan on my phone or inside pretending like I was rich and this was my house. For this, I was being paid 75 grand a year. More than I'd ever even hoped to have had made in my whole life. When I was doing most of the driving, it went up to 115. Every time my job became more illegal, the money would get better. That's his tactic. He knows people will just do about anything for the right price. I just want people to know, I guess. Call it a public confession because I'm guilty. I guess I don't care that much because I'm going to be dead. I've done things that I can't forgive myself for, and I think they will have me killed anyway. I'm going to do it on my own terms. I just want people to know, I guess. It says, anyway, Mr. Epstein is very shrewd. He pays you a lot, but not enough for the shit you have to do, and he tries to find the absolute least amount he can pay you to keep it going. For me, disgracefully, that was around 150k. I stayed on caddy duty for about 4 months, then Mr. Epstein took a trip abroad, and he loaned me out to another family, the Romneys. Now, keep in mind, I never met Mitch Romney. I assume he means Mitt Romney. And I don't think I even worked for him. I just worked for the family. I reported to an employment manager as usual, and I was tasked with driving a young man named Cole around wherever he wanted. Cole was probably 22, already had his license, and had been suspended for drunk driving. He lived in a huge house out in the middle of nowhere outside Boulder, Colorado. Man, it was beautiful. If I could have stayed there forever, I would have. I suspect it was a vacation cabin, mansion, owned by his parents, but I digress. Every weekend we'd drive into the city, he would get shit-faced drunk, find a woman or working girl, and I'd take us all back home. Cole was a piece of total shit. If you remember Scumbag Steve, just imagine if Steve Perry multi-millionaires, if not billionaires, you get the idea. And I said, so one Sunday morning, after a typical Saturday night, I report for duty 8 a.m. sharp, knowing damn well Cole isn't going to drag his ass out of bed until at least 3 p.m. Here he comes, hobbling down the driveway in his socks to my car. He usually texts when he's up, and I come inside and start cleaning up his message. No text today. He comes over to the car as I'm stepping out. He says, hey buddy, we got a problem here, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, what? Let's see it. We go inside, upstairs to his bedroom. His girl from last night is laying face up, her mouth open, is pulled with vomit. She's most definitely dead. As far as I can tell, she overdosed on whatever combination of prescription drugs they were doing, passed out, puked, then suffocated on her own vomit. I'm absolutely flipping my shit. Got my phone out, dialing 911. Cole slaps it out my hand and tells me to hold on. He says he can't get in trouble because it will look bad on his family. I said, Cole, you've already been getting into trouble. He says he knows, just not this kind of trouble. He says I'll get a big bonus if I just deal with it myself. Now, I'm way out here in the middle of nowhere, and the implication from day one of my employment in this circle has been that if I mess up, I might suffer harsh consequences. I know what I did here was wrong. I know that, and I'm so sorry. He says, I asked him what I'm supposed to do. He says, just wait. He gets a different phone out of a drawer and starts making calls. After a few minutes of waiting in the hallway, he's casually pacing around the corpse. He gives me GPS coordinates for a little spot of 111 up in the mountains. I'm supposed to wrap her up, take her there, and drop her off. He said there would be guys waiting there to take her. It's a long drive. I don't look forward to it one bit. I wrap her up in his comforter. He stops me. Bro, he says, bro, not that blanket. That's like the softest blanket in the world, dude. No way. He gets me a different blanket from the closet. Being real gentleman, Cole was. He's got an F-150 at the property used for landscaping work. I put her body in the bed with a tarp on top of it. I fill the rest of the back with landscaping supplies, fertilizer tools. I tried to make it
in a quarter-mile turn right on Jimmy Lee Smith Parkway.
But he's promising me that if I get busted, I'll have the best lawyers that money can buy, and I believe him. She's dead already anyway, and it's unlikely that he would even get into any real legal trouble, just bad press. So what's the difference?
Turn right on Jimmy Lee Smith Parkway, then keep right.
I have to stop twice and puke. When I get there, there's a little dirt spot you can pull off into, and sure enough, there's a big black SUV and a Jeep with off-road tires. I'm not about to just assume these are the body people, so I stop and get out and approach the SUV. The window rolls down, and there's a woman who's probably in her 50s, a big guy driving.
In a quarter-mile, keep right to stay on Jimmy Lee Smith Parkway using the middle 2 lanes.
Effing idiot. She makes a call and describes to me the person on the phone. She then puts it down and says, "We're who you're looking for. Is it under all that stuff in the bed?" I say, "Yeah, do you need help?" She says, "No, take a break." So I walk into the trees.
Keep right to stay on Jimmy Lee Smith Parkway.
We're in the Jeep within about 5 minutes. The woman tells me to wait 15 minutes before I leave. Then they pulled out and drive away. The Jeep drives further into the woods. I wait maybe 7 minutes and I leave.
In 1.6 mile, turn left.
Not to ever leave early again. It was from a blocked number. Wow. So when I get back to the house, Cole is sitting at the kitchen table eating a massive bowl of Fruit Loops with a big serving spoon, watching Love and Hip Hop. This man is like a child and he hasn't even got dressed yet. He asked me to wash his blanket and sheets. I do it. We got really drunk that night and Cole tells me this happened twice before and it's always fine. He says he's like Scarface and shit. I hate him. The remaining few months go by without incident and he gets his license back, freeing me at last. Mr. Epstein doesn't need me at this time, but I do get referred to as a reliable driver to the big wigs at Def Jam Records, who assigned me to work for Rihanna's crew while she promoted Talk That Talk, at the time her 6th and newest album. For the record, I'm not sure I believe this, for the record, right now, okay? For the record, right now, I'm not sure I believe this, but like, let's see what they say in the comments. It says, I never met Miss Rihanna in person, just in passing now and then, but I found this job to agree with me a lot better than the others. I drove a van stacked with promotional gear city to city while she toured. A few times I was sent to pick up Molly. I was told to use test strips for purity. If it wasn't pure, I was supposed to walk away, but it was always pure. There are circles within circles of connections. I believe there's an entire shadow economy strictly for the rich and famous to get their rocks off collectively. One thing I did learn about Rihanna is that she enjoys young females as well. I don't know if I believe that. I don't want to get the lawsuit, all right? This is just a deranged 4chan post. I was sent to pick up 2 young girls and bring them to a hotel room. Of course, I was met outside the door by someone more important than me. This struck me as odd, because as far as I understand, Rihanna is not a billionaire like Epstein. I think she is now. But she was even more insulated and protected than he was. I'm sure that a lot of it has to do with just personal choices regarding security, but I get the picture that in this world, influence and money both equal power, and Rihanna, especially in 2011, 2012, was highly influential. All I had to do was mention her name and girls would get in the car just like that. Rihanna, I'm sorry, Rihanna, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep reading. So the most noteworthy thing that happened while working for Def Jam is when Rihanna...
In a half-mile, turn left.
Everybody was there, and I mean all of the pop stars were there. Jonas Brothers, Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, even a few old heads like Elton John. Some actors. I noticed John Travolta for sure, Seth Rogen, Emma Stone, Bradley Cooper, to name a few. For this party, I was of course tasked with getting entertainment. They wanted as young as they could get, and as many as they could get. I think I've actually read this section before. Ostensibly, they were being hired to be wait staff, valet drivers, but the plan is to switch it up on them when they actually get there, give them drugs, money, whatever they need to get them to do what they wanted to do, which was essentially be all expenses paid working people, like on Fig, for whoever wanted them. That part, thankfully, was not my job. I'm just a piece of shit who tricked them into going. I picked up 5 young girls from a mall, a couple of teenage boys. I found them walking along the road. Then I got hold of an escort company to fill it out and make it an even dozen. The ones from the escort company were not underage, and I was severely chastised for it. My manager basically asked if I ever wanted to work again. I said yes. He said, then act like you've got some goddamn sense. I didn't make this mistake again. After the tour ended, I was just on my own for about a month or so. I rented a house near Tulsa and basically isolated the entire time. I was starting to get ideas in my head about going to trade school or something when I was called back to come work for Mr. Epstein again. So at this point, I've developed a bad coke habit of which I've only been sober a few months to this day. I needed something to make me do it. Coke makes you feel numb in a way not much else does, and believe me, I've tried just about everything. There are research chemicals no one has even heard of that get traded around in these circles, and when I came back to work for Mr. Epstein on his island, I was going through an 8-ball...
Turn left, then pick up on the right.
But I had to keep focused during the day. The coke wired me up and the liquor brought me back down. That's the only way, mentally, I could really cope with what was happening. I was flown to...
What's up?
Hey, well, I got the keys to the Cadillac, brother.
What Cadillac?
You wouldn't that mean? The Cadillac of her boyfriend that they broke up. She gave me his phone number. Said, Colin, can you talk to him? I said, sure.
That's wild.
I said I'd be glad to talk to you. She goes, I told him it's over, but he won't stop telling me he loves me. I said, I'll talk to him.
No way. What do you got to tell him? What do you got to tell him? Huh. Wild. Huh. Hey. Yes. Let's see. Anna B. Or Andy. So she set all that up.
Barbecue and its southern soul food sides might get the most votes. Barbecue has a diversity of styles, techniques, influences, both homegrown and foreign-born. Creating flavors and
Wait, brother.
Oh, never mind. You can tell them to leave. Never mind.
Okay, bye.
I got the cookie. I was like, where's my cookie?
It's like, he ain't listening anyway.
There you go. There we go.
All right, thanks.
Have a good night.
Maybe he didn't have
I hope
hearing.
not. There's someone calling about that later. Have a good night.
Yep, okay. God bless you. Thank you. Fine. Hey, let me tell you something real quick. So I'm broadcasting. All that didn't get broadcast because I put on my headset so that I couldn't hear that. But just to say, right now, when you call me, you probably going to be on air. So just to let you know. So just letting you know. So if you don't, you know, because I need to make sure I advise you that before, if you say something that you might regret, you know. Oh, but do you have that guy's keys for real, or is that what you're saying? Okay. Not yet, but you are about it in a minute. In a minute you are. Okay, well, let's quit talking about that then. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
This is pastoral stuff.
So when you call, you might say, am I being broadcast? Now you are, right now? Now you are.
Okay, well, I don't want to talk, I ain't talking about any of the other stuff, so.
Okay, right.
But yeah, so hey, listen, just call me back when you get a minute.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah.
I don't want to broadcast anything about pastoral stuff.
Right, I got you. But I might be broadcasting for a while, so you might
I'll
not.
be up for a while. If not, I'll just talk to you tomorrow about it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, God bless you. Peace. Bye.
Regular staff. Essentially, I lived on this island for free while getting paid to maintain the grounds and keep the buildings up. When Mr. Epstein was there, obviously he would bring his own entertainment, so I didn't even have to do that. I thought this sounds like an effing fantastic deal. Island paradise, great wages, not much real work, count me in. Out of all of my sins, I believe slots. I always look for the easy dollar, and that's why I'm prey for people like this. Now, first of all, this island is like a paradise on Earth. It's always a comfortable temperature, the rains are breathtakingly beautiful, the architecture and decor of the houses are exquisite. Yes, the bathhouse is really creepy, the fake doors are there to confuse flyby surveillance, if anyone was wondering. The other regular staff were hard to get along with, they were all creeps, and I mean capital C effing
In a
creeps.
quarter-mile turn right on Hiram Ackworth Highway.
Honestly, that I'm put here with them. They all joked about getting Mr. Epstein's leftovers, and the talk was constantly about when Mr. Epstein was going to visit the island again, when he would bring important people, world leaders, CEOs, etc. I and most of the staff were kept totally out of sight. We weren't allowed to work in an area unless we knew it was empty. Only his most trusted employees could actually be in the building with him and his high-powered friends. Sometimes, though, it would just be the family and things would be more relaxed. I passed by his office.
Turn right on Hiram Ackworth Highway.
Inside. He asked me my name and I told him. He offered me a seat and I took it. You don't get far in this business by saying no. He began to talk to me. He looked really stressed. He asked me how anything that feels good could be bad. He had a big painting of Oscar Wilde and considered him to be a personal hero. He began to explain hedonism to me and asked me if I understood. Of course, I said, who doesn't like fun? Lots of people. He said, lots of people. Then he had me go about my duties. I effed up really bad one evening and entered one of the maintenance sheds to return some tools I'd been using and saw the sweaty, pale back of a large man hunched over and thrusting. He had a tattoo of Nixon on his back and he was wearing a bull's head mask. He was effing one of the regular staff members' mouths. He turns to me and I'm just standing in shock and he says quite angrily, do you mind? What the fuck? What? And I slam the door shut. As I'm closing the door, I get a glimpse of my co-worker's face and he's crying. I googled Nixon back tattoo and later realized that man was Roger Stone. No. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. What? Why? Why? I'm tired, man. I'm tired of this, bro. I'm tired of this. What? What? It's real.
This guy's tripping because he just read Roger Stone. You got Mitt Romney and Roger Stone.
I later realised that man was Roger Stone, who I'd never even heard of up until that point. I knew I was in deep shit. The next day, and for 2 weeks after, I got the worst jobs. Trash pickup, cleaning toilets, scrubbing his boats. It effing sucked, but I kept my mouth shut anyway. Blood. As far as I understood, my pay had not been cut whatsoever. So I thought, whatever, I'll do the shitty jobs where I'm by myself, because at least, hey, I'm by myself, that was fine by me. This is... every day is something just crazier than the last. It's actually insane. I'm not a good guy, but thank you. If this was the movies, The Punisher, or whoever would rip my spine out of my back, and I deserve it. I'm not a good guy. Anyway, things started getting really tense on the island from that point on. People started making little comments to me about being nosy or minding my own business. I was starting to get worried that I'd be branded a troublemaker, which you don't want to be. Things turn very quickly in this business. That's how they've kept a lid on it for so long. Any small mistake and you're out. Most people are let go with NDAs and the understanding that they will be watched the rest of their lives, which ultimately is how I got out as well. After Epstein died, they cut me loose. I guess they figure since he's dead, nothing I'd know would matter anyway. They're probably right. Honestly, it probably won't matter anyway, but the rest of my time on that island was pure terror. I was just waiting to be taken away, or worse, never happened, but I was still really scared. I saw a few of their weird plays they would do around the bathhouse. Mr. Epstein had a little portable stage he would set up. He would wear the bald head that I saw Stone wearing and give a big speech about what he called freedom. He would say this island is the only free place in the whole world where everyone on it can do whatever they want. Bullshit. Not your employees, not the children you bring here. Total bullshit. Everyone.
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Charles Hardy Parkway using the right lane.
Really cringy old rich people shit and go into the bathhouse. There's a trapdoor on the floor that has not been reported in any of the investigation photos I've seen. I've seen this. What they call the chamber, and it's essentially a bondage dungeon. I don't know what happened in there, and I never want to know. I stayed as far away from that house as I could.
Turn right on Charles Hardy Parkway.
Wait. So I see this going around. This is, they're saying there was a trap door that opened straight into the ocean, and people were saying that it was used to dump bodies. It's more likely a door into a...
Sounds to me like there's a couple of trapdoors on Epstein's
There was a
property.
trapdoor inside Epstein's house that led straight to the sea. They were on islands surrounded by water, so why would they need a secret trapdoor to the sea? What? Posted a picture of Roger Stone with the Nixon thing. Oh my god. Okay, so he stayed away from the bathhouse. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. He said, I mean, large as in wide, he's a brick of a man. Pick related. In the supply shed, he was taking up basically the entire doorway. Oh my god, make it stop. So anyway, eventually I got my reputation for the most part back into the good graces, and I was working in the main houses again. One time I was helping in the kitchen. I don't know if the chef was effing with me. I hope so, but he was separating what looked to me like the torso of a very young skinned pig. It had been roasted and he was chopping it into quarters. The ribs to be served that evening and the rest broken down for soups and casseroles. I jokingly said that it looked like a little kid. He just gave me this awful dead-eyed look for a second and said, watch it. Ugh. I worked on that island for about a year. In 2013-14, Mr. Epstein chose me and 2 other trusted employees from the island to come with him to a winter retreat in the Swiss Alps. He owned a small villa.
Enter the roundabout and take the first exit onto Hillside OVLK.
And wanted people to know that he knew he could be trusted because most of the staff would be local hires. Our job on the surface was to help manage all the employees, like supervisors basically, and the unspoken task would be keeping everyone either in the dark or quiet. Ugh. Mr. Epstein had a real fondness for...
Just ahead, turn right.
Listen, if they're of age, that's sounding decent. And the Swiss, obviously it wouldn't be because he's a creep. And the Swiss, as he would explain, have a very progressive idea regarding age of consent. Okay, I'd scratch what I just said.
Turn right.
He viewed this as more of a relaxed way to do what he does, more casual. Part of the thrill for these people, I think, is the fact that it is illegal and they could get in big trouble. When they go to places that are more friendly with the idea of an older man having it on with 15-year-olds, it's to take a break, so to speak. Bro, this is disgusting. The Alps themselves, wow. I mean, wow. I've been all over the United States and nothing in this country compares to Europe in terms of sheer beauty. Sometimes in the early morning, when I'd come out of my cabin and stretch looking at the trees, smelling the crisp, clean air for just a minute, forget what I have done and what I'm doing. When it came back to me, I'd have to fight back the tears. I want the mountains to be there. Hi. So, I've not been there 3 days when, while me and 2 from the island were doing lumps of coke off a butter knife in the lower garage, a boy, maybe 14, skinny, blonde, pale, and nude, comes through the doorway right towards us. He's speaking French, but I think I got the gist of what he was saying. He was asking for help. He looked hysterical, and immediately my 2 friends were out of there, and I shouldn't have been far behind. I told him, calm down, it's okay, I'm going to help you. I just wanted him to feel better. This all took maybe 30 seconds before one of the nannies came in. He looked at her confused. To get the picture, he was trying to decide if she could be trusted. She couldn't. She shushed him and put her jacket over him and took his hand. She was speaking French as well, and it sounded like a mother consoling a frightened child. She led him back into the house. I did not see him again. I never mentioned it to anyone, and nobody ever mentioned it to me. During my last couple of weeks there, I witnessed firsthand the murder of an independent journalist. Oh no.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh. wait. Cancel the video, delete the video, delete everything. I don't think he was actually a journalist. I think maybe he had a YouTube channel. Shit. Damn it. Chat we go. I've never heard of him and I don't know his name. I don't think he was anyone with any real connections. Listen, right? He was one of the local hires, a dishwasher, but he was seen with a cell phone out, possibly recording. Me and the other two from the island were asked to go check it out, so we go get a guy.
Head to your drop-off at 5310.
He's got a phone. Said, the last thing I think about before I die. So...
Turn right, then turn right on Hillside OVLK.
Well, and I thought, oh, garage. The boy came from skinny blonde pale. Come through the doorway right before us. Speaking French, but I think I got the gist of what he was saying. He asked me to help. He looked hysterical, and immediately my two friends were out of there. I shouldn't have been far behind. I told him, calm down, it's okay, I'm going to help you. I just wanted him to feel better. This all took maybe 30 seconds before one of the nannies came in. He looked at her, confused, and I get the picture he was trying to decide if she could be trusted. She couldn't. She shushed him, put her jacket over him, and took his hand. She was speaking French as well, and it sounded like a mother consoling a friend's child. She led him back into the house. I did not see him again. I never mentioned it to anyone, and nobody ever mentioned it to me. During my last couple of weeks there, I witnessed firsthand the murder of an independent journalist. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Cancel the video, delete the video, delete everything. I don't think he was actually a journalist. I think maybe he had a blog or a YouTube channel. Shit.
That's funny.
Chat, we cooked? But I'd never heard of him and I don't know his name. I don't think he was anyone with any real connections.
I thought they were going to tell his name. That's why I rewinded.
He was one of the local hires, a dishwasher, but he was seen with a cell phone out, possibly recording. Me and the other two from the island were asked to go check it out. So we go get a guy. So we go get the guy, ask him to empty out his pocket. Sure enough, he's got a phone. We told him to unlock it. He wouldn't. One of the other guys made a call, came back, and slugged him directly in the nose. I think it broke it because there was blood just pouring out and the guy started screaming. I don't think he'd ever been hit before, but me and the other guy held him down. F it, I'll say their names. We tell him it was Daniel Robinson from South Florida and Marcus Harper from Nevada. Marcus and I were holding him down and Daniel punched him again and told him to unlock his phone. He complied this time.
Head to your drop-off at 5310 Picken Road Southwest.
Because only wired connections work there. I guess they had signal jammers or something. Or maybe because it was just so loud. I don't know. Anyway, Daniel makes another call and tells us to take him back outside into the woods. I think we're just going to threaten him and make him sign an NDA, but Daniel took off his belt and strangled him to death. What? The first hat. We had to put his body up in an outbuilding because the ground was frozen. We put him through a wood chipper and then burned everything to ash. There were bits of charred bone left over. We swept it into a trash bag and threw it out with the regular garbage. Stop. This, above everything else, I feel the most guilty for. This is the second half of the story, actually. My God. After that, if I wasn't in before, I was definitely in now. Me, Marcus, and Daniel.
Turn right, then turn right on Hillside
Daniel had
OVLK.
been in the military. I think he had a few screws loose because he always had a temper. He became the go-to guy for the really dirty stuff. I started working for Mr. Epstein directly after this. He would confide in me sometimes when he was very high about how nothing really makes him feel good enough. He told me once that he hasn't felt happy in years. I wish I had the stones to tell him that this life he's living is only bringing him down. For a brief moment, I felt empathy for this man. I think that too was part of his game, though. I don't think he has ever had a single genuine feeling in his life outside
Make a slight right turn.
gratitude. He never mentioned the journalist to me. It was like it never happened, but we both knew that was the reason I was now working directly for him. Listen, I think I've said all I care to right now. I'm going
Turn
to
left on Charles Hardy Parkway.
If this thread is still here in a few hours, I'll answer questions and tell some more stories. Ex-Mill,
This
Florida
is
Cycle.
not-
Hey, OP, is this your few screws
if this
loose
isn't
ex-army
Jeff
friend? Just a yes or a no, and I'll keep working. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't think he was mentally challenged at all. He was whip smart. I just don't think he had any emotional intelligence, maybe. I think he was hollow on the inside for the most part. They called them plays and theatre, but from my eyes, yeah, I would say the speeches and stuff I saw looked a lot like rituals. The bull's head mask was scary. I mean, it was a rubber mask for sure, but whoever spoke would wear it all night. And they would come up out the chamber. The masked person would roam the island all night. And it was generally understood that you are to avoid them at all costs. When they wear the mask, they're like animals. They just wander around from one carnal satisfaction to the next. Food, sex, sometimes violence, whatever. And they can just do whatever they want. If they came to you and told you to suck their D or whatever, you would have to do it. It never happened to me, thankfully. I made sure on those nights to stay out of sight. And that's the end of the most depraved thread I think I've ever witnessed in my entire life. What? And so now for the comments, okay? It says, if you search Cole in the Epstein emails, there was a short back and forth with Kathy Rumenia, where Jeffrey Epstein asked, does Cole's replacement need confirmation? Just thought it would be worth a mention. They said, here's a post about Cole. Has anyone verified that if this Cole had a previous DUI arrest and a suspended license around that time? Assuming it was not expunged, I don't know if you can find after
Cole
that.
Romney.
Rich people can pay to make them go away. I mean, if the information is publicly available, then whoever wrote this up could look it up for their story as well. It needs to be something he couldn't have known at the time. Oh, God. Cole Romney from the Jeffrey Epstein 4chan thread. Don't. We need to revisit this. That's what they're saying. Look, LMAO, you totally did all of that. I know plenty of mini Cole
In a
Romneys.
quarter mile, turn right on McConnell Road.
Oh dear, not really care. We don't know if this is sure. People in the comments are saying it was real. Evil One, hell is real. And how do you know? Look at the released emails they put out. It shows the Epstein Def Jam connection as well as the Rihanna connection. No way this dude nailed 3 people in this story.
Turn right on McConnell Road.
Even knew that Epstein was connected to Def Jam. Even if the story is fake, I still feel like it's a pretty accurate representation of what the Epstein world was like, so maybe it doesn't really matter. I guess it shouldn't have said matter. My God.
Turn right on Lost Mountain Road.
Bruv.
Oh well, I screwed up even
Oh,
hard.
the story time with the dead man section. Oh my God. Has someone else done a video on this? Are they still alive? Are they still alive? Okay. Someone else has covered this. That long ago, 4 times 4chan on the internet. Wow. I'm gonna save that torch later. Crazy. Look, I could look into this another time. They're saying it's a real person. I won't sum up the article. You can read it yourself. It said Cole was 22 around the time. The story takes place around 2011, so he'd be 31 in the article. It seems right, although the dude in the article is the polar opposite of the guy described in the thread. I don't think a man-child with seemingly no job who lays around in his pajamas all day, staying up all night doing drugs with hookers would be an Air Force member attending medical school and have a wife. Kids also be running a business with his wife. But according to the article, this all happened around 2017, several years after the incident in the story, so maybe he turned his life around later on. Ref. What's this going to be? Okay, this is the email. It just says, does Cole's replacement need confirmation? That, that's, hey, listen, that doesn't really prove anything, okay? They're saying Mitt Romney has made Goldman Sachs lawyer, White House counsel for Obama. Mitt Romney maintained a long-term close financial and professional ties with Goldman Sachs, which
In a quarter mile, turn right on Corner Road using the right lane.
Is likely a reference to James M. Cole, who served as a deputy attorney general until 2015. Screenshot of this thread is in the Epstein files. Sure is. This is actually in the files. So you can't say it's not my fault. I didn't come up with this. Okay.
Turn right on Corner Road.
The last post on 4chan this person made was 8 hours before Ghislaine got arrested. That is insane. The investigators found it interesting. What did they say? Is this the same thing? It's just more threads. Eventually I got trustful being the same
Just
thing.
ahead, turn right on Pickens Road.
Subject to protective order. It is actually in the files. It's legitimately in the files. I love how one person said it's too silly to believe. If only they knew. Then
Turn right on Pickens Road.
Verified. If they were missing, so it's literally how they got away with it. They behave nice in public, and it's so insane in private that to tell about it makes the whistleblower look insane.
In a quarter mile, turn right to stay on Pickens
Video
Road.
sharing the post. It's deleted now. 4chan story, X working for Epstein. No way. Oh man. Well, look, the files have they've already closed out the files, but this video could have been in the files. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. From a memory, someone turned to text that was posted to 4chan in a YouTube video. It was then removed.
Turn right to stay on Pickens Road, then drop off.
YouTube in the files. That's crazy. So this is a comment basically summing up all of the things that apparently have been confirmed as true that match up with the story from the actual properties, Epstein properties, and physical features from the story. Okay, it's not necessarily matched up.
Zachary M says, meet at door, drop off porch, thank you.
A favorite bedroom, all this, we already know this stuff, right? It says the false door thing is true, although...
Zachary M says, meet at door, drop off porch, thank you.
He would have also mentioned the painting of a woman that was in his office instead of Oscar Wilde. 2025, it was revealed that Oscar Wilde was on his prison's reading list. The pictures of inside the temple or bathhouse are on Wikipedia. Huh. Interesting. Intriguing. Some very interesting pics. Wikipedia got the goods. I'm not going to lie. Wikipedia got the goods. Wow. Looking for Oscar Wilde painting. Little St. James. Little St. James is the smaller of the two islands in the southeast.
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Davenport Circle.
Man, I need to get rich enough so that I can have
In
an
a
island.
quarter-mile, turn right on Davenport Circle.
Nothing but good vibes and good times. And all adults. Just good adult fun on my island, okay? We're going to set things right. Look at the floor. It looks as if there might have been a trapdoor. The staff were desperately repaving it, perhaps after Epstein's death, and they just ran out of money and abandoned the property. Google isn't finding me anything on this. I found an email from Jeffrey to Valerie Post dated September the 13th, 2010, where Jeffrey said, buying respectability is like the Oscar Wilde quote that says sincerity is the most important characteristic, and once you fake that, you'll be fine. Wow. There's 11 images in this. You can clearly see the fake doors. There's
Just ahead, turn left to stay on Pickens Road.
Over the trapdoor, but it could have easily had flooring or furniture put over it. So this is on a Daily Mail article. There's just a few more images. I think these are quite similar.
Turn left to stay on Pickens Road, then drop off.
It's kind of looking like a bit of a stage. That does actually make sense to me. It's actually so dark. So dark. He purchased the island in 1998. This guy was rich for so long. It doesn't make any sense. Mattresses that have appeared to been left to rot in shrink wrap that has turned a shade of yellow. Wow. Dark. It's dark. It's dark, people.
Drop off.
Emails about masks. No. I don't want that silver mask. I'm getting out of my doggy mask. This will be so cute. This doggy coming and going from the house. Yes, I agree. I sent an email to Elizabeth, who's in charge of sending the gift, asking her for a signature. I'll let you know it never arrived. I think what you saw was the mask we all got at the ball, just a plain white mask. Bunch of emails about that. Screenshot of YouTube comments asking about the bull mask. Wow. Surprisingly believable. Sends evidence to the worst press agencies that are probably in with Epstein. They're saying that he's, when you're rich and powerful, blah, blah. Reminds me of that one movie, The Conspiracy. Wouldn't surprise me if they had human hunting parties on the island and that temple was probably used for dark rituals. Full movie is on YouTube. The cover is a guy in a red bull mask wearing a suit. The YouTube comments making it into the Epstein files is absolutely wild. Oh my God. Oh my God. Saying, I wonder if this is the same Daniel Robinson and Marcus Harper. Oh my good golly God. There we go. Tampa man sentenced to 50 years for child exploitation offenses. Child S-word exploitation offenses. Donald Daniel Robinson, age 30, Tampa. He pled guilty in 2016. I would have thought these guys were older, but maybe not.
Head to your drop-off at 1791 Heights Circle Northwest.
Done an investigation after receiving numerous tips from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children Network concerning internet user at his residence who distributed files containing cheese pizza through various social networking websites. The agents raided his home. They found evidence on his phone that he posed as a female online to coerce children to create very bad things. He got 50 years. That's Daniel. And then this is the other man, Odessa man, sentenced to life for S-word assaulting and impregnating a young'un. Marcus Harper, also age 30, was facing, this is 2019, 2 counts of aggravated SA with a young'un, 2 counts of SA of a young'un. Life in prison for each count. Bruv. They're both posted before this story, though. The story is about before the arrest, I assume. Man, people are saying, is he LARPing based on publicly available details at the time? My initial response in my head was called Story Bro. Yeah, as believable as he tried to make it, I get suspicious every time the account throws a spattering of celebrities you wouldn't have expected that have zero history of SA in there for shock value. Like, if you copy and paste the cast of a Marvel movie or Billboard Top 10 and don't have the evidence to back it up, I'm not going to believe you. It's the same reason I tried to ignore the tip line of the files and focus on the emails. With this becoming a cultural phenomenon, it opens up too much room for trolls or nutcases to LARP and have fun. Too many Redditors have never even stepped foot in 4chan. You just see these posts and lap it up with not knowing how much stuff is LARPed. LARP meaning live action roleplay. Yeah. Always wonder what that unlucky YouTuber might have been. Makes it wonder how many people's disappearance can be linked to Epstein's network. If any of this is true, I don't even want to imagine. Did he mention how the YouTuber got there? I must have missed it. Didn't make sense to me. He was hired as a dishwasher who got caught recording too many times. He was outed as working on undercover when he wouldn't surrender the content. Both goons have such generic names, it's hard to confirm their identity. I keep getting timed out with the DOJ, but there are emails about bringing along a wood chipper. Huh.
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Poplar Springs Road.
Now, here's an interesting comment that kind of makes people skeptical. It says, the one detail mentioned that makes me skeptical of the authenticity, where the author stated was when Epstein was high, he opened up to him and had a deep philosophical conversation. I've heard Epstein didn't drink or do drugs. Multiple sources says that man was against
Turn right on Poplar Springs Road.
substances. He'd stock his parties with every drug under the sun, but he would remain sober. People like him do not like feeling out of control, and I also think he knew he had to always be alert, clear-headed, so he didn't get caught up. They say maybe he got high when he was alone and not partying with others. One of the names he's mentioning, Daniel Richardson, the murderer, shows up on a wire statement in the files. But it's mentioned as something else, somebody completely different. Gosh, that's nuts. It's crazy. Did you see this from 6 years back? People are saying it's a LARP back then. Real or LARP? Supposed former driver and assistant to Epstein come forwards and tells all, if this is a LARP, it's pretty damn good. 9 out of 10, it's usually a LARP. I like this, not necessarily because it's true, but it gets what I believe is the spirit of the truth. I'm imagining Epstein at the seat of decadence and excess, staging Bohemian Grove-style rituals, consecrating his own power, living without consequence, and yet totally empty inside. It encapsulates everything rotten and evil inherent in wealth acquisition for its own sake, and shows us what the next generations must do differently if they want a more peaceful and loving society. On X, makes me immediately think it's just a good storyteller. Oh god, here we go. There was a screenshot of Rihanna's name with a
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Dallas Highway using the right lane.
We have gone full set. We've broken through the meta. It's crazy. Image 5, Cole murder location. Street view cuts out before that point, even though the satellite. That's crazy. I find the story plausible, but highly, highly unlikely. It should be fairly easy to corroborate the facts that we're not in the public record now. But yeah, very creative and detailed, unlikely.
Turn right on Dallas Highway.
I searched the word bull and got tons of results. Yeah, no shit. How could he remember those exact coordinates? He probably zoomed in on the place on maps. He remembered and broke down the coordinates, so it's easy to do these days. It's crazy. I only don't buy it on the fact that if you really did this work, you would surely be able to prove it somehow, either with some picture or something, message, screenshots, addresses, more specific names, some private info. It certainly would come out later, but it doesn't provide any source of proof or even try. I said, sorry, it's nonsense. The thing that I think is interesting about this is I'm pretty sure that when the guy posted on 4chan claiming that he worked in the prison and that he was there.
This woman handed her daughter a $10 million jade necklace and left her in the crowd at a railway station. Her last words, keep it safe. Someone will come for you. She entered the train to distract the attackers, but moments later, the train exploded. Little Amelia stood there crying, clutching the necklace to her chest. Saved by rescuers, she was taken to an orphanage, a filthy place where she was tortured every day.
What's up, everybody? My apologies for the delay. Look, we're going to be responsible in this episode, as I try to remember to be every episode, and we're going to keep...
We'll know this, okay? There was the flood of Noah, right, in the book of Genesis, and then Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And among his 3 sons, one of his sons actually committed an abomination with Noah. And as a result, he was cursed. And that son was Ham. And Ham
Head to your pickup at Little Caesars, 1600 Kennesaw U West Road.
announced a curse from heaven upon Canaan.
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Midway Road Northwest using the left lane.
And conflict between Israel and the people of Canaan in the future, known as the Canaanites. Now, very interestingly, this group of people, I want you to hear me right at the beginning.
Turn left on Midway Road Northwest.
You're not understanding the Bible. Jesus.
Well, the FBI said there was no sex trafficking. That was like yesterday or the day before. There was an article that was saying that. I was like, hold on. Yeah, that feels like gaslighting. Like we're looking through all this. That seems impossible to think at this point.
Hey, what would you say is the biggest revelations you've found so far?
The last 4 releases that we've had are just unbelievable. I'm shocked at the sheer volume and content of disturbing and even coded language that's in this. It's just shocking to me just how deep this goes.
Meet me at class 9:30. So Many Hot Girls Promise that was sent to Jeffrey Epstein as well. 30 between 6 and 7.
And I can't even imagine what we haven't found yet. That's what's so shocking to me.
Even if they release all the files and unredact all the names, could still be the tip of the iceberg. It shows how bad this is. Dr. G, good to speak to you again. As we were saying earlier, the last time we spoke, we were talking about Trump's meeting with Putin. Yet now we have over 3 million files to go through on some of the most, like, I knew we're going to probably find disturbing things, seeing how hard they've tried to hide this for so long. But I'm really surprised to see this exceeded my expectation. Like, till today, I'm still finding files. I'm like, what the fuck did I just read? Now, you've done an incredible job sifting through everything. I saw your latest video yesterday, which we're going to probably talk about today, about scribbling done by Epstein in his prison cell in what looks like an escape plan. But before we start digging into things, Doctor, what's your general impression of the files so far?
The latest file dump, the last 4 releases that we've had are just unbelievable. I'm shocked at the sheer volume and content of disturbing and even coded language that's in this. It's just shocking to me just how deep this goes. And so, frankly, I continue to be shocked every time I read this. It's just more information in these files. There's more to go through. There's more to get to. And I can't even imagine what we haven't found yet. That's what's so shocking to me. But yeah, I'm completely blown away by some of the things we found.
And generally when people talk about conspiracy theorists, what conspiracy theorists do is they take one story and they kind of link
Turn
it.
right on Due West Road Northwest.
Yeah, what we've seen here is he's literally got his hands in everything. Just before this interview, I was going through an email correspondence with, I think, leaders in Saudi. And then days afterwards, Khashoggi, the journalist, was killed. I'm like, holy shit. I tell my team, like, this guy's everywhere. And you're talking about coded words. The most common term used is pizza, over 900 times, and that links to the whole Pizzagate story about a decade ago that everyone dismissed as a crazy loony story, and here we are. And it gets weirder. There's another one of him being invited or inviting others to have pizza and grape soda. And there's a correspondence I was going through today as well, whereas his virologist, I think it was, got him pills for erectile dysfunction, and he's like, after you take the pill, wash your hands and we can go have some pizza and grape soda. And there's also cheese mentioned over 1,000 times. There's beef jerky mentioned a few times. The list goes on. But what do you have for us today? What would you say are the biggest revelations you've found so far?
So I thought that it could be interesting to go through some of the names that are mentioned, some of the people that are talked about, and some what I would consider some fairly legitimate accusations. I thought we could look at some of those people. We would look at some of the journals by one of the victims. I thought that could be interesting as well. They're pretty painful to read because it's actually pretty heavy stuff, but it does give us an insight into what it was like for some of the people that were trafficked by Epstein. And she also makes some pretty outrageous claims. We'll talk about whether or not these are fully credible. Also got some information on that potential escape plan. I've translated it pretty well, but I've had a lot of feedback since I released a video on it. Some people that think that there are a couple of words that maybe that I hadn't translated. They think maybe it means something different. We can get into that. So there's some pretty interesting stuff there. So a little bit of everything today, but mainly just the most interesting things I found thus far, sifting through. I don't even know how many I've looked at at this point. It has to be well over 100,000. So.
Absolutely, man. Let's do this. You're gonna be able to share your screen.
So what I'm going to start with is that this is a journal by a 16-year-old girl who was an alleged sex trafficking victim of Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, she names a lot of names in this journal. I mean a lot. She's actually 2 journals. And I'm going to go through a couple of them. But this is actually cover to one of the journals because she had letters from when she turned 16. So she was very legitimately quite young when all of this was going on. But as I said, she names a lot of names. And there was an attorney that included a letter. Actually, I'll scroll down to that briefly, and then we're going to be jumping around a little bit so you can at least see what that's in reference to. So her attorney basically had said that words like yucky and gross and bad and mean are code words for me. Some people are mentioned, it doesn't give any sort of context. Some people, she says, were gross or yucky. I'm going to go through a couple of people that she said were. Now, to be able to read this, it's very complicated. Well, I don't want to overstate it. Maybe not very complicated, but it's not easy to read. Basically, it's written in code. If you look at the first word up here, it starts with the T, the second letter is, doesn't matter how far away you are, no matter how good you think they are, even the old president, they will get you. He should have been thinking Chelsea, gross, in a plane on a yacht in New York, in DC, at the Vineyard, at the island, Palm Beach, doesn't matter. The last line says, disgusting pigs like Alan Dershowitz, which I guess is Alan Dershowitz, and Mr. Crothers, even Mr. Islam will hurt you, especially if Ghislaine is busy or not with you. Now, the last line I don't take actually as direct accusations as much as some of the other ones, but the first name mentioned, obviously, is former President Bill Clinton. This his daughter is Chelsea.
Yeah.
So the word gross is specifically identifying that she was assaulted by him. That is based on what the attorney said.
In a quarter-mile, turn right.
Why is she writing in code in the journal? Do we know why?
We don't know why. I think that sometimes she seems pretty artistic. She posts a lot of clips like this. She posts a lot of pictures. So I suspect it was just, my assumption would be that it was just for fun, that she was just sort of a weird way to write her journal, so it felt private, probably. You know, that's typically what we would associate with a simple cipher like this, because obviously it's not hard to decode. It takes all 10 seconds to realize how it's written. So I would assume it was just a vague attempt at privacy.
So this is one of the victims of Epstein, who directly accuses the former president of sexual acts with her, and she was 16 at the time. And we know the former president spent significant time with Bill Clinton.
Yes. That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. And so,
who are we talking about?
This is, and after we talk a little bit more, I'm going to talk about whether or not these acts
spent significant time with Bill Clinton. Yes. He accuses the former president of sexual acts with her, and she was 16 at the time. And we know the former president spent significant time with Bill Clinton.
Yes. That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. And so this is, and after we talk a little bit more, I'm going to talk about whether or not these accusations are fully credible, because that's another layer to all of this, and that's where it starts to get a lot more complicated. Because I'm not somebody that questions victims, but some of the claims that she makes in some of the other pages are pretty outrageous, and I'm going to explain those to make sure people can make up their own decision in terms of how to feel about these things. But as we were saying, yes, very clearly right here, she's suggesting the old president is Bill Clinton, and she is implying that he did violate her in some way. I thought I'd go over another one briefly, and this one is actually one that was redacted. So if you can see right here, there's a redaction, and I'm going to explain who that is right here. So I'll just start here. Thank God my parents picked me up for being a Rockefeller. That plane Mr. Dana had me on was scary. I have no idea who Mr. Dana is. That's not who this is about. Both he and Larry Summers are fucking disgusting. Hope no relation to Tracy. I guess it's a royal thing. Gross.
Turn right.
So some reference to royals here, but it's pretty vague.
Turn right, then pick up.
Now this is blank should not brag because that was yucky. Yucky was one of the terms that once again indicated some form of sexual contact. Does this lady know you can't have any dignity if you've been with him? I know I have none, only Skittles. Now just reading it,
okay. So at this point, I'm stopping this video. I'll be back on here in a little while, and I'll have some more stuff like that. God bless y'all.